Hello, hello, my dear. I am so thrilled that you have got the Eclipse Season Sanity Kit. Let me just explain a few things so that you can kind of orient yourself with all of this incredible information. So, first of all, what is an eclipse season? What is an eclipse portal? Let's just go over a few basics so that you have some kind of context for this information if you never have before. And if you have been learning about it, maybe I'll share something with you that will be informative and helpful. So twice a year we have eclipses. This is because the north node and the south node, the nodal path, is known as the nodes of fate, is close to celestial events. So a new moon or a full moon, and this happens twice a year in clusters of at least two twice a year. So you'll have a new moon and a full moon that'll be kind of close to the nodal path with where it is showing up in the astrology chart. And you'll have that in kind of the first half of the year, and then you'll have a second set of them the second half of the year. Every now and then you'll get three sets. So you'll get like a full moon, a new moon, and a full moon. So it'll last for 4 weeks instead of 2 weeks. But that isn't as common, but it definitely does happen. Eclipse season is the eclipse portal plus the 2 weeks before and the 2 weeks after. So it's going to be at least 6 weeks long because you're going to take the moment of the first eclipse and you're going to go to the previous celestial event. So if the first eclipse is a full moon, you're going to go to the new moon before that is when we enter the season of the eclipse. And that will extend through the eclipse portal and then all the way to the other side of the next celestial event after the last eclipse. So it creates this container where twice a year we have this forward movement, this massive soul growth. If the eclipse is about 2 weeks between the two eclipses, if the eclipse portal is 2 weeks, then we call that about 18 months worth of growth in that 2 weeks, because the nodal path takes about 18 years to go through the whole entire zodiac, and it takes about 18 months to go through each sign. So with that, you have this massive acceleration. You have this massive forward movement of these nodes that are, it's a little bit less than 18 months for each one. So then they're rotating each and every year. And we're not just repeating the same cycles at the same time. And so with that, what you're seeing is you're seeing these downloads and the releasing, because the south node is what we're here to release and the north node is where we're going. And so when we're having these eclipse seasons, we're letting go and releasing at a soul level, and we are moving forward and receiving and learning and being able to develop our souls in a way that just the energy opens up to be able to teach us on that unspoken language level. So if you go back over the years and you look at when were the eclipse portal dates over my lifetime, and you note there's a really good chance that something life-changing happened inside of the portal or shortly after, or the inception point of things that changed happened inside of the portal. Maybe you met someone who became your spouse later, but you met them during an eclipse portal. Or maybe you made a decision to end a significant relationship and it happened from inside of an eclipse portal. Maybe the relationship actually ended inside of the eclipse portal. Maybe you bought a house. Maybe you sold a house. Maybe you met someone that changed your entire trajectory of your life, a business partner or a friend that introduced you to a friend group that changed everything for you. These are times of massive forward movement, even if it doesn't always feel like it. But our souls are creatures of expansion and growth. So even when we want things to stay the same, our soul is taking us somewhere where it is going to develop, it's going to grow. We do not actually want, at that soul level, stagnation. What we want is growth and expansion. And it's easy to resist that if you don't want things to change, or if you believe that you're resistant to change. Our mind does try to keep us safe and it resists change. So it's this really interesting dance between the temporal and the soulful. And so this is that tension that perpetuates us forward. And so I put together this Eclipse kit so that you could be able to go through things and see with fresh eyes. So I have a list of all of the eclipse seasons that have happened from 1945 all the way until 2050. So you have a lot of dates to sort through, and you can kind of map it out as we go. And I designed this so that you can keep using it. You also have journal prompts and things to reflect on around these eclipse cycles. These are going to really help you to dig deeper and to harness this powerful energy and get the most out of it. I also have an outline in here for how to create a women's eclipse circle. So whether you're gathering virtually or personally my favorite is in person, here's an outline for how to be able to create a gathering where you can come together and you can have a specific set of things that you can do to really truly harness the power of this and gather as women and take advantage of this incredible energy. And you can be the one to host this. You can be the one to initiate it, or find, your extroverted friend and say, hey, will you do this with me? And together you can gather women, whether it's, just a few of you or whether you get 100 together. But there is an outline to be able to do that. I also included tapping scripts for allowing soul growth fast so that you can remove things out of your way. Also tips for finding where the particular eclipse that's coming up, where it hits in your natal chart, because it's going to affect you differently than it is your sister or your spouse or your cousin or your neighbor. And your particular natal chart is your soul map. It is your divine map for your life. And so the house that it's hitting in and where it's the sign and if it's interacting with anything else, I have a whole bunch of information on that. And also, I am a huge fan of Audible. I don't know if you're like me, but I love Audible, and I've listened to so many incredible books that have just really spoken to me and have created a lot of beauty in my life and a lot of awareness and clarity. And so I have a very thorough, effective Audible book recommendations, and you just can intuitively pick what it is that you need right now. So I hope that this serves you and that you get the most out of this upcoming eclipse season. And I am just sending you so much love, and I would love to hear all about your experiences.